Have you ever woken up in the morning, stretched your legs, and thought, why do my joints feel so stiff today? Maybe you've noticed that simple things, getting up from a chair, climbing the stairs, or even opening a jar, aren't as easy as they used to be. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Joint pain is one of the most common struggles people face after 60, and if left unchecked, it can make daily life feel like a challenge. But here's the good news. There are simple, gentle movements that can bring relief, improve flexibility, and help you feel stronger. You don't need fancy gym equipment. You don't need to spend hours exercising. And no, you don't have to push through pain to get results. What you do need is consistency, and a few easy movements that can help loosen stiff joints, reduce discomfort, and get you moving with more ease. So, if you're tired of feeling like your body is holding you back, stick with me because today, we're going to go over 5 simple but powerful movements that can make a real difference in how you feel. Now, before we jump into the first movement, let's talk about something important. When people think about joint pain, they often assume it's just part of aging, something you have to accept. But that's not true. Yes, our joints change as we get older. The cartilage that cushions them may wear down, and we might not recover as quickly from aches and stiffness. But movement, the right kind of movement, can actually help protect your joints, keep them flexible, and even reduce pain over time. The key is to do exercises that gently strengthen the muscles around your joints without putting too much stress on them. Alright, let's start with something simple but incredibly effective. Imagine you've been sitting for a while, maybe watching TV or reading, and when you stand up, your knees feel stiff, almost like they don't want to move. That's because joints love movement, and when they don't get it, they become stiff. So, the first movement we're going to do is something called seated knee lifts. Here's how it works. Find a sturdy chair and sit up tall with your feet flat on the ground. Now, slowly lift one knee toward your chest, keeping your back straight and your stomach engaged. Hold it there for a couple of seconds, then lower it back down. Then, switch to the other leg. That's it. Simple, right? But don't let that fool you. This movement is doing a lot for your body. It's warming up your hip joints, strengthening your thighs, and improving blood flow to your knees. And if your knees tend to feel stiff when you wake up, doing this in the morning for a minute or two can make it easier to start your day. The best part? You can do this movement anywhere, while watching TV, sitting at the dining table, or even before getting out of bed in the morning. The goal isn't to rush through it, but to do it smoothly and with control. And if lifting your knee feels difficult at first, don't worry. Just raise it as high as is comfortable for you. The more you do it, the easier it will become. Now, let's move on to the next movement, which focuses on another common problem area, the shoulders. If you've ever felt like it's harder to reach up to grab something off a shelf, or if you notice discomfort when putting on a jacket, your shoulders might be feeling tight. And when our shoulders become stiff, we start to avoid certain movements, which only makes things worse over time. So, to keep our shoulders loose and pain-free, we're going to do a simple movement called shoulder rolls. Again, this one is easy to do sitting or standing. Start by relaxing your arms at your sides. Now, slowly lift your shoulders up toward your ears, like you're doing a big shrug, then roll them back and down in a smooth, circular motion. Do this a few times, then switch directions and roll them forward. It might not seem like much, but this movement helps keep your shoulder joints lubricated and reduces tension in your neck and upper back. A lot of people carry stress in their shoulders without even realizing it. If you ever feel tension building up after a long day, try doing 10 slow shoulder rolls. It can make a big difference in how you feel, especially if you spend a lot of time sitting. These first 2 movements, seated knee lifts and shoulder rolls, are a great start to easing joint stiffness and improving mobility. And don't worry if your range of motion isn't perfect right away. The key is to keep moving, even if it's just a little at a time. Now that we've got the legs and shoulders loosened up, let's keep going. Now that we've loosened up the knees and shoulders, let's keep going and focus on another area that tends to cause a lot of discomfort, your hips. If you've ever felt tightness in your hips after sitting for a while or noticed that walking isn't as smooth as it used to be, your hip joints might need a little extra care. Our hips are incredibly important because they support almost every movement we make. Walking, standing up, bending down, and even just shifting from one position to another. But over time, if we're not actively keeping them mobile, they can stiffen up, leading to pain and difficulty moving freely. The good news is that there's a simple movement that can help, and you can do it without even leaving your chair. This one is called seated hip openers, and it's as easy as this. While sitting in a sturdy chair, plant your feet flat on the ground, about hip width apart. Now, take one knee and slowly open it out to the side, like you're trying to create space between your legs. Then, bring it back to the center and switch to the other side. As you do this, keep your back straight and your movements slow and controlled. You might feel a little tightness at first, and that's okay. The goal here isn't to force your legs apart, but to gently encourage your hips to open up. Over time, this movement can help reduce stiffness, improve flexibility, and even make walking feel more comfortable. Speaking of walking, have you ever noticed that sometimes, after sitting for a while, your ankles feel stiff when you stand up? Maybe you take your first few steps, and it feels like your feet aren't quite ready to move yet. That's because, just like the knees and hips, your ankles need movement to stay flexible and strong. That brings us to our next movement, ankle circles. This one is incredibly simple, but it does wonders for improving circulation and keeping your joints loose. Here's how to do it. While sitting or standing, lift one foot slightly off the ground. Slowly rotate your ankle in a circular motion, first in one direction, then the other. After a few rotations, switch to the other foot. This might seem like a small movement, but don't underestimate it. Your ankles play a huge role in balance and mobility. If they become too stiff, it can affect the way you walk and even increase your risk of tripping. That's why a little bit of daily movement can make such a big difference. And here's something else to keep in mind. Many people experience swelling in their feet and ankles, especially after sitting for long periods. These ankle circles help with circulation, reducing that uncomfortable swelling and making your legs feel lighter. So, if you ever notice that your ankles feel tight or swollen, take a moment to do a few ankle circles. You'll feel the difference almost immediately. By now, we've covered movements for the knees, shoulders, hips, and ankles. But there's one more key area we need to focus on, the hands. If you've ever struggled with stiffness in your fingers or found it harder to open jars, grip objects, or even type on your phone, you're not alone. Our hands do so much for us every day, yet we often forget to give them the care they deserve. One of the best ways to keep your hands and fingers flexible is by doing finger stretches and wrist rolls. Start by extending your fingers as wide as you can, then slowly curl them into a fist. Open and close your hands a few times, stretching them out fully each time. Then, take each wrist and rotate it in gentle circles, just like we did with the ankles. These simple movements help keep your joints flexible, reduce stiffness, and even improve grip strength, something that becomes more important as we get older. Strong hands mean more independence, whether it's opening a stubborn jar, carrying groceries, or simply holding onto a railing for support. So far, we've worked on almost every major joint in the body, but we're not done yet. There's still one more movement that ties everything together and helps you feel more balanced, strong, and confident in your movements. Let's keep going. Now that we've loosened up the knees, hips, shoulders, ankles, and hands, there's one final movement we need to cover. One that ties everything together and helps improve your overall balance, coordination, and strength. If you've ever felt a little unsteady on your feet, maybe catching yourself on furniture or hesitating before stepping off a curb, you're not alone. As we age, our sense of balance naturally starts to decline, but the good news is that we can train it, just like a muscle. And improving your balance doesn't just help prevent falls, it also makes every movement feel more confident and effortless. So, here's a simple but powerful movement: heel-to-toe walks. This one is great because it engages multiple joints at once. Your ankles, knees, and hips, all while strengthening the muscles that support your posture and stability. To do it, stand tall with your feet together. Now, take a step forward by placing the heel of one foot directly in front of the toes of your other foot, like you're walking on a tightrope. Then, bring the other foot forward in the same way. If you feel unsteady, don't worry. Hold onto a wall or a chair for support as you get used to the movement. At first, this might feel a little tricky, especially if you haven't done it before. But the more you practice, the easier it gets. This exercise helps retrain your body's ability to stay steady, which is incredibly important for preventing falls and keeping you moving with confidence. Even just a minute or two of heel-to-toe walking a day can make a noticeable difference in how stable and strong you feel. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've covered. We started with gentle seated knee lifts to loosen up stiff legs, then moved on to shoulder rolls to release tension and improve mobility. From there, we worked on the seated hip openers to keep the hips flexible, followed by ankle circles to support balance and circulation. Then, we gave our hands and wrists some much-needed attention with finger stretches and wrist rolls. And finally, we wrapped it all up with heel-to-toe walks, a movement that strengthens your entire lower body and improves your stability. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That's a lot of exercises. But here's the thing. You don't have to do them all at once. Even just picking a couple and doing them for a few minutes each day can make a big difference in how you feel. The key is consistency. Movement is like medicine for your joints. The more you do it, the better you'll feel. So, if joint pain has been slowing you down, try adding these simple movements to your daily routine. You might be surprised at how much better you feel in just a few days. And remember, small changes lead to big results. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Have you tried any of these movements before? Which one do you think will help you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more tips on staying strong, healthy, and independent at any age. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, you are never too old to feel great in your body. Keep moving, stay positive, and I'll see you in the next video.